Well, hey, y'all. Welcome to Tuesday Leadership Tips with LIta. This is the final Tuesday of 2025. I hope that you all are excited. But listen, today I want to pick your brains a little bit. I want to know, are you ready for the way ahead? Are you ready to reflect, to release, to realign, and to rise for 2026? If you are ready, let's lock in. Let's talk about this. The last Tuesday of this month, the last TLT with LIta for this year. I am so excited because this isn't just the end of the year, y'all. It's our leadership threshold. This last Tuesday is what I want to call our pause point. We're not stopping. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep moving. We're going to keep progressing. But we got to acknowledge what this year demanded. We got to honor what it taught us. And we got to decide intentionally how we're going to step into 2026. Are you ready? Are you ready for this conversation? I want to invite you, leaders, on YouTube, on IG, on TikTok. I want to invite you to, number one, stop rushing ahead instead of crossing the threshold from 2025 to 2026 with that clarity that you need, the courage you need, and the conviction. And this is our time. We're going to spend this short time together just to have this conversation. If you know other leaders that need to chime in, that need to hear this, just share it with them right now. Tell them we're live right now on YouTube, on IG, and on TikTok, talking about the way ahead. We're talking about reflecting, we're talking about releasing. And we're talking about how we're going to realign and rise for this year coming. So before we rush into 2026, I know there may have been some things that happened throughout the year that make us want to rush past this year. But we got to be honest that 2025 shaped us. It shaped us in some ways that perhaps we didn't intend to be shaped. We didn't prepare to be shaped. And in some cases, we didn't even want to be shaped the way 2025 shaped us. But let's face it, it shaped us. And the question is, did 2025 sharpen you or did you just survive? That's a real question, y'all. Because sometimes if we just acknowledge what happened, how it happened, and how it affected us, it can help us better move past it. But ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It doesn't even make it go away in our memory bank. We'll still remember things. So if you had to give it a word, what word, one word, describes 2025 for you? If you had to give it one word, what word would describe 2025 for you? What did this year ask of you that you didn't expect? For some, it was chaos. For some, it was grinding. For some, it was soul searching. For some, it was a loss. For some, it was gains. But what's the best word to describe 2025 for you? And if I had to share, I don't think I could sum mine up in one word, to be honest, because there was a whole lot of things going on. There were some ups, there were some downs, there were some ins, there were some outs. There were so many different things that happened in 2025 that I'm grateful for. Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful for the things that I experienced in 2025. I'm grateful for the things that it taught me in 2025 because these are some of the things that I learned. I learned endurance. I learned adaptability. Now, all these terms you all may be familiar with, and so am I, but they taught me something different on a different level. It taught me emotional maturity on a different level. It taught me how to set up stronger boundaries. Because sometimes we have boundaries in place, but they're not strong enough. It taught me clearer priorities. There may have been for me some priorities that were, pretty solid. But then, even with those priorities being pretty clear, there are certain priorities that are built around my beliefs, my values. But I've learned that there are some clearer priorities as well that I needed to implement. And every year, I don't care who you are, it extracts something from you, but it also gives something back if you pay attention. It gives something back. And that's the beauty of having a year that may have had a lot of things going on, that may have had some ups and downs, that may have had some highs and lows, that it was a give and then it was a take. And it's like this, even though some things may have been extracted, you receive something as well, even if it was just a lesson learned. So what did you gain, leaders? What did you gain because of what you went through in 2025, this year? What did you gain? I gained perspective. I gained compassion. I gained more patience. I gained more perseverance. I gained another level of flexibility. I gained a lot in this year. Even if I could go and list all the things that I feel like weren't favorable for me, I can still, using reflection, find another list of things that were gains, that were lessons, that taught me things that I can take into this next year to help me overcome some things better and to be able to face some other things in different ways. So, not only did I gained some things. I also gained some strength, y'all, and I hope that you all did as well. And if you didn't think about it, or if it hadn't crossed your mind, think about the areas where you're stronger now. It could be stronger in your emotions, stronger in your mindset, stronger in your physical body. It could be strength on different levels that you gained. So do that reflection quickly. I'm gonna give you just a moment. Give you about 60 seconds and just think about what you gained. Yes, be mindful of what you learned as well because you don't want to repeat lessons that you should have learned in this year. So make sure you take note of the things that you learned and then also take note of the things that you gained, the things that made you better ending 2025 and stepping into 2026. So close the year with intention. Y'all think about that. If you feel like sharing, you want to share, drop it in the chat. What did you gain because of what you went through in 2025? I shared some of mine. Y'all know I try to be transparent about that. But just think about it. Be honest with you, be true to you, and do that reflection, even if it is just you and you need to do that reflection within yourself. But do that reflection and allow yourself to see the positives and not just the negatives. Allow yourself to see the gains and not only the losses. Because in doing this, in seeing it all, what you're doing is you're figuring out what stays and what goes. So let me give y'all 60 seconds. I want y'all to really have that time. Exactly 60 seconds. When the clock turns, I I was already halfway through 413. So let's go 415. Just share it. Drop it in the chat. What did you learn? What did you gain as a result of what you went through in 2025? All right, y'all. Share it if you feel like sharing it. We're going to do something with that. Once you get that either in your mind, you could write it down where you are in your notes because you don't want to forget the lessons you learned. You don't want to forget the things that you gained. You don't want to forget about it because if you forget about it, then you you might repeat some stuff that you learned a lesson in that you don't want to repeat. All right, 415, y'all. I hope y'all got it in your mind. You thought about the things that you gained, the things that you learned, and now this is what I want you to do. I want you to figure out, even if you have to write it down, you don't have to share this in the chat or you don't have to share it with me at all. But I want you to name the things, the lessons, the habits, the clarity that need to stay with you going from 2025 to 2026. So name those lessons. If it's financial lessons, if it's physical fitness lessons, if it's emotional intelligence lessons, if it's whatever it is, leadership intelligence lessons, things that you have learned in lessons, in habits, and in clarity that you know you need to take that from 2025 over into 2026. And then the second thing I want you to do is the second thing I want you to do is to also name the things, the patterns, the mindsets, the distractions that you cannot allow them to follow you into 2026. So, number one, name the lessons, the habits, the clarity that you have that you need to take from this year to into the next year. Then I also want you to name the things that you don't need to follow you into 2026. Those could be patterns, it could be mindsets, it could be distractions. You don't need to take those things over into 2026. And this could be on any level of your life. It could be in your leadership, it could be in your personal life, it could be in your spiritual well-being, your emotional well-being, whatever it is that you know does not need to go with you from this year into the next year. You don't want any bad patterns. You don't want any bad mindsets. You definitely don't want any bad distractions taking those with you because this is what I know. You don't step into a new year by accident. You step into it by decision. So it's either you decide to take the things that you learned, those habits, those lessons, that clarity, you make a decision to take that with you into the new year. Then you also, you do or you don't, you make a decision to not take the patterns, the distractions, the mindsets that are not going to serve you well in the next year. You step into this next year by decision, y'all. It's intentional. It's not accidental. So do that. Even if you don't complete that while we're on this live, I do want you to complete this for yourself in your time, even if you have quiet time where you could just sit alone, either in your office, in your home, wherever you are. Just sit and think about those things and write them down because you want to be very intentional. You want to make deliberate decisions about how you step into 2026. All right. So the way ahead. which is the main reason for us getting together today, is that I want us as leaders leading into 2026. I want us to have that way ahead clear in our own minds, that clarity that you need, because it's not about resolutions. I know people make resolutions all over the planet. They make New Year's resolutions. They're going to work out more. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. All these different things that people decide that they're going to do a resolution about. It's not about resolutions, it's about direction. And you and I, as leaders, we have to be clear. We may not have all the details, but we ought to be very clear about what we're going to do and what we're not going to do as it relates to our habits, our patterns, as it relates to the positive things that we have gained and learned in 2025. We got to be about having the clear direction and not about just making resolutions. Because if you look at it statistically and historically, most people don't keep the resolutions that they make. But when you make a clear decision, you set out a way ahead, you're more likely to follow that clarity leading into the new year, even if it takes a period of time to get to certain goals. You're more likely to follow that than you are to set a resolution that you're only going to do for about 2 weeks. And that's just keeping it real, y'all. So, the way ahead is number one, lead with intention. No drifting, no autopilot, no repeating cycles that you've outgrown. If I could just use a simple example, eating patterns. I like to eat, y'all. That's the truth. And I used to like to eat a whole lot of sweets, just being honest. But I've learned that that's not a good pattern to eat a lot of sweets all the time. And eating a lot of sweets and working out and eating everything else good, that's all good. But the sweets was a habit that was not a positive habit, and it wasn't serving me well. So, no drifting, no autopilot, lead with intention, no repeating cycles that you've outgrown. Let's be intentional. Number two, move with alignment. That's my a part of my word for 2026, divine alignment. When you are moving with alignment, you have fewer distractions, you have cleaner priorities, and your decisions, they match your values and your vision and not just how you're feeling in the moment. It's important to move with the alignment that matches your values and your vision and not just how you're feeling at the time, because our feelings are so fickle. They could be up in one moment, down the next moment. You could be excited in one moment and crying the next. I'm not saying that that's what anyone on this live is doing. I'm just saying that our feelings are not, they are not reliable, if you will. They're not reliable to make important decisions and to move in the direction that you want to move in, because you may not feel like it, but it is absolutely the right direction you need to go into. And you may not feel it. In fact, you may not feel like it at all. But when you're moving with alignment, regardless of how you feel, You make your decisions, your movements match your vision. You make it match your values. So move in alignment. And then the last thing I want to say is commit to consistency. Consistency wins, y'all. Whether you're working out, whether you are working on a vision, whether you are working on reaching goals, whether you are just trying to reach a state in your business, in your personal life, whether you're trying to keep your mind focused on a daily basis, consistency wins. Not perfection, not intensity, consistency. This is what will shape your outcomes in 2026. If you will be consistent, consistency wins. 2026 doesn't need a new version of you. I know I'm the first one to tell you, I know that I am becoming who I'm supposed to be. I'm getting better, becoming a better me, but it doesn't need a new version of me. It needs a more aligned version of me. And so it is with all of us as leaders. This next year just needs an aligned you, aligned with your values, aligned with your vision. And as you are aligned, you will begin to see better outcomes in 2026. Now, I asked you what was one word that described 2025 for you. So now I want you to give one word that you're closing 2025 with. One word that you're closing 2025 with. And then give one word that you're entering 2026 with. One word. And if you don't know what it is right now, that is okay. We're not looking for perfection. We're not looking for instantaneous answers. What we're looking for is for you to have that clarity as you're closing 2025 and entering 2026. So if you want to share it, you can share it when this is posted on my IG page, or if you want to share it on my YouTube channel. Those of you who are on TikTok, you can share that. Share your word closing 2025, and then share your word also entering 2026. All right, y'all. I'm going to leave y'all with this closing thought, and I'm going to get out of here. This year changed you, but you get to decide how it defines you. This year changed me, y'all, but I get to decide how it defines me. So close 2025 with gratitude. Enter 2026 with clarity. And then walk forward knowing the way ahead isn't something you find, y'all. It's something you lead, because we are leaders. All right, y'all. That is it for our live today. Thank you all for joining us, and look for some communication as we enter into the new year. Some different things that I'm going to do. They will be exclusive. And if you desire to be a part of it, you're welcome to join in on that. But look for that communication coming up soon. All right, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and I look forward to seeing you all in the new year. Don't forget to put in the chat, what word are you ending 2025 with, and the word that you're entering 2026 with. All right, y'all. Until next time, Happy New Year.